Hello all and welcome to the Barney School of Business session this evening. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Liz Hodge and I'm the admission manager for the Barney School of Business. We wish we were welcoming you to campus today and hopefully you would all get the chance to meet us on campus soon. I just want to remind all students that are joining us today to use the question and answer feature at any time to ask any questions and we'll answer them during or at the end of our presentation. Today, you'll get the opportunity to hear from our Dean of the Business School, Dean Mulready, our Program Director, Celia Lofink, a faculty member from each of our majors, and 2 current students on their experience as a Barney student. As you can see on this slide, this picture is shown from the front of our business school. This addition was added to the Barney School of Business in 2018 and houses a trading room, a common area for students, and an active learning corridor rooms, which are designed to reconfigure for any class and purpose with high-tech learning collaboration space. Today, our Dean Mulready, and Celia Lofink are live from the business school. Dean Mulready, I will turn it over to you now to kick it off for our event this evening.
Okay. Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Steve Mulready, and I am the Dean of the school. And what we're going to be talking about today are the majors. And part of that is what you're going to hear is that in those majors, we're going to make you career ready. And I know a lot of schools talk about career ready, but what we do is we want you to leave here with 3 C's: competent, connected, and confident. When I attended the schools, we didn't have that theme, but when I was here, that's exactly what they did for me. They made me competent, connected, and confident. And so they prepared me for my career. And my career really was in the business world. I started at Aetna in a national accounts department, and over the course of time ended up running the entire strategic business unit. Gave me the opportunity to meet a lot of people in a lot of different business, both domestically and internationally. Some of the accounts that I met with were Mary Kay Cosmetics, Boeing, Disney, and Gulf and Western. And from there, I had the opportunity to also meet their customers, their employees, and see what needs that they had. And we had the opportunity to satisfy them through all of our services. So I was with Aetna for 25 years. And one day I found out that we were selling the company to a competitor. I could have gone with them, but I listened to a recruiter, and I decided to take a job in a New York-based operation called Orion. I became president and chief executive officer of that company. Little did I know that in 3 more years, I'd be going through a very similar operation. This time, a British company wanted to buy us. And after the purchase, they made me the president and CEO of the US operation. And so I did that for a number of years. And over time, got recruited away to a private equity firm to run an insurance company for them. And most recently, I have been working for a British organization, and that company had me run their US operation called Crum & Forster. So you may be asking your question, well, why am I now the dean? Well, it started a long time ago when I came back to work here on a part-time basis. I was asked to join the Board of Visitors by a dean back in 1999. And that dean, what he wanted was 25 of us in the local business community to be working with him in terms of evaluating the programs that they offered and were they relevant to the businesses. We gave our ideas and he took them. And ever since then, every dean has gone through that to accept the advice of the business community. And what that does is it makes the school relevant. It makes us so that we're connected, competent, and confident. So after that, about 3 years later, I began to teach here on a part-time basis. The same dean asked me to do that. I taught some organizational development courses. I taught a strategy course. And in 2008, during the financial crisis, I was asked to teach an applied financial course. an investment where we offer the students $250,000 to invest in green and global customers. And so that's what we did. I'm in the trading room right now. 12 years later, we're still doing the same thing. When I retired 2 years ago, I was asked to join the Board of Regents for the entire university. In addition to that, asked to be executive in residence in the Barney School. So it brought me full circle here, back to where I began my career, going to school here, having a successful career, and returning here. And this past summer, I was named the Dean of the Barney School, which is a very proud moment for me. So what am I going to do as the Dean? Well, my belief is that we must make our grads career ready, the words that I used earlier before. And I think the cornerstone of that is what we need to do is make sure the students have exposure, not just to the professors, but also to the business community. And so there's an awful lot of experiential learning that goes on through internships, as well as other projects in which the faculty, the business community, and you will work together. So our plan is to make that work for you. If you come here, you also will leave here competent, connected, and confident. So let me turn it over to Celia.
Well, good evening, good afternoon, depending on your time zone. We're glad you're with us. Thank you for that warm, wonderful welcome, Dean Mulready, our Dean of the Business School. I'm going to just take a brief few moments to do some introductory comments, and then we're going to get right into our topics this evening, meeting the majors and hearing from some of our students. I would like to say that I find that let me just share my screen, Liz, and I'd like to have you be sure that you can see it before I continue. And Liz, you can see my screen.
Yes.
Great. Okay, so what was that?
You want to put it in presenters mode?
Sure. And are you seeing it in full screen?
Not yet.
Okay, let me try one more time. And how about now?
There you go.
Perfect. So I wanted to say that Dean Mulready mentioned that we're in the trading room, which when you looked at this new building that Liz spoke about, we're very proud of in terms of all student space. If you go in that front door and those windows to the right of the front door, that's where we are. We're here speaking with you. And I would like to say welcome back to some of the students that may have been with us on Saturday, and welcome to those of you just joining us for the first time today. So just a little bit of a repeat of some of the information that we covered on Saturday, not in full detail, because my understanding is you can also watch that session in video, soon to be available on our hartford.edu website. But we talked on Saturday about why Barney School. And one of the things I said, and I will say again, is that not all business schools are equal. If you have heard that myth, I'd like to bust that myth today and tell you that that is not true, that there is some playing field that is leveled out, but then there's a whole host of factors that should go into your choice about the business school for you. And we do certainly hope you choose Barney, right? As you think about the factors that are different about Barney and that would be a fit for you. One of the things that's not on this slide that I can't help but call out is when you heard our dean give his introduction, students and parents on this call, let me tell you, that is a huge differentiator amongst business schools. We have a dean who shared with you that he has an extensive executive business background. And he brings that to us now. He brings it back to us, right? Started out coming through the program here, Barney, went out into the world of business, and now is back to share a direction and leadership that will make, this is why it's important. It's for you, your business success. What he talked about is career ready. We can do that because he knows what that means. to be in that big C, career ready space, being competent, confident, and connected. So a big differentiator. Now on these slides, again, I'm not going to go into too much detail because we're here to talk about the majors and for you to hear from our students. But here's a few items I'd like you to consider, just as you can look at your choice of destination and your choice of the next 4 years of your education. There is an ideal location. And I would like to suggest I'm going to be a little bold here and say, I don't know, parents on this call, if you think the right return on your investment is some potential beach in Tampa, where I understand is some favorite destinations for college, where everybody's jumping up and down and having a good old time. I think that we look forward to you attending our business school students that is serious and that is going to give you a return on investment, because our location is in Hartford, Connecticut, which has a heartbeat, by the way. I know you do this all the time, the heart of Hartford, and is a center for corporate and entrepreneurship opportunities for your career. We're also juxtaposed between New York and Boston. So we can get serious with you about business. I hope you consider that as your location of choice. Before the end of this session, we're going to hear from our students, and I know they're going to share with you some of their thoughts about the kind of small classes and personal attention and relationships that they get with our faculty by being here. Again, another differentiator for you to consider versus some of these bigger schools. I don't believe can get that kind of attention. We know you here, and we're proud of that fact. In this close-knit community, we engage. Again, I think you're going to hear more about that from our students that goes beyond strictly a program of courses, but a true experience around learning about business. And finally, career ready, that I believe is, again, another checkpoint on your scorecard. Please keep score and look at these differentiators and check them off. If they're on your list, we'd like to see you here next September. We'd like you to join us. I'm going to continue on. Before I do, look it to the right-hand side of the screen. I'd like to point out that another piece of this puzzle for you, parents and students, I think you need to really look at schools that are accredited and that have rank recognition. So one point to make is that we are an AACSB certified school, which means we're in the top recognized business schools, top 5% worldwide. So that is something to look at. That's not every business school. And we're proud of that. We've had that recognition for a number of years, right?
20 years.
20 years. And we're about to go into a reaccreditation that we're very confident that we will get. And our rankings, for example, Princeton Review has recognized us as one of the best business schools. So look for that as you do your decision-making process. And we want to be part of that with you. You reach out to us at any time. Come visit us, come Zoom with us, and we'll be happy to visit with you about your decision. All right, we are going to move into this this focus of our presentation tonight, meet the majors, and have a chance for you to hear from our faculty tonight. This slide shows you that our program is, I believe, extensive and covers what I think is the pulse of business in helping you get the kind of education that you need to be successful. We speak of our program being a degree in business, a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. So you come out of the 4-year experience with that broad-based understanding of business, and then you have an opportunity to focus on a major. Our majors, we have 7 of them currently, and they are something we revisit all the time. We have, amongst this 7, we have a couple majors that are fairly new, just in the past couple of years. For example, our business analytics and managerial economics program. For example, our risk management and insurance program. Brand new because we're following the pulse of the industry out there and being sure that we're giving you the right focus to be ready to launch your career. any major can become a minor. So we have that opportunity as well for you if you'd like to do a major focus and then an additional minor focus. Students and your parents, I would tell you also, the good news is we're not going to keep you around extra semesters for that. You can build that into the program if you choose to do an additional minor along with your major. We actually have some additional minors besides the majors I have shared with you, including actuarial science, right? And some of these other minors that are additional to look at, project management. Great opportunity to hone your skills as a minor in project management. And on the right-hand side of this picture, you see our cast of characters, if I could call us that, with all the pride that I have being a member of this faculty and teaching within the business school program. And tonight you're going to meet 7 more of those faculty speaking about each of the majors. So I would like to go ahead and proceed now into that part of the program and ask that if we could to have Professor Bannister begin to turn his video camera on and his audio. There you are, sir. Good to see you tonight. And it's my pleasure to all of you attending tonight to introduce you to Professor Jim Bannister. He is a faculty member in accounting, and he's also actually the department head for the accounting department. So he's going to speak with you a little bit tonight about the accounting major, and I thank you, Dr. Bannister, for being with us.
Thank you, Professor Lofink. It's a pleasure to be here, and I have just a couple of minutes. So I want to point out that my email address is at the bottom of the screen, bannister@hartford.edu. So anybody who would like to can certainly send me an email if they don't have a chance to ask a question later. And I think in our Career Ready program, our students in accounting actually each in every major do an internship. In accounting, oftentimes students will do 2 or even 3 based on some of the careers that I'm going to run through quickly now. You know, one of the natural things that we have in our lives is that we want to know what we have and how much we owe and what's the difference between them. And that's really what accounting is. So you can look at corporations, governments, not-for-profit institutions like the University of Hartford, for example. Everybody needs to keep records and everybody needs to report out to all their stakeholders. So accountants are busy handling that as well. There are careers in audit. Those are the individuals who come in and check to make sure that people inside the organization are doing well. And so we have students that typically will go out and work for an audit firm. Sometimes they'll work in audit and be out looking at corporations or at universities, other not-for-profits, or even governmental agencies if they are a government auditor. Others go off into tax, which is kind of a different animal. We all know that we need to do our taxes, and individuals will help us with our own returns, but most professionals in the tax area are looking at helping corporations to, file their taxes. So we have quite a few people go off in that direction too as CPA firms. We're seeing that there's a lot more automation. Some of you may use automated tax software, and that's my timer going off. You may have heard it. So there's much more automation. And what's happening with accounting is that we wind up doing much more planning and advising. So those auditors and tax staff that are out helping corporations are analyzing the corporations as they go along and advising them on ways to improve. I also wanted to take a moment to talk about job prospects in the next few years. This is true for every single major. Those of you in Gen Z, this is a great time. It may not seem like that right now, but there are very many openings. Even right now, firms are, you know, just not banging on the door trying to get entry-level staff. That's going to continue because it's just where you are demographically. There are a lot of people retiring. There are a lot of spaces open for you. Thanks for your time.
And thank you, Jim. I'm going to start my video again, is be your host, if you will, your MC of this portion of the event of the evening. And I would like to say, just in compliment to Dr. Bannister as the department head and his faculty in accounting, that they are truly some of the highest caliber I have ever known in the accounting field, with an amazing, maybe your parents know this term, an amazing Rolodex. They have contacts and relationships in so many area companies, the big four to other companies that our students end up getting amazing opportunities and internships and jobs. I say, Dr. Bannister, because of the fine faculty in accounting. So thank you so much for that. Students participating, parents participating, if I could remind you, if you would like to chat questions into the chat box, Liz is monitoring that. And after we hear from all of our faculty about the majors, we're going to open up for questions. So by all means, chat away any questions you might have. Our next faculty member that's going to speak to you about business analytics and managerial economics is Dr. Ben Brewer. He is an assistant professor of economics in our Barney School, and I appreciate you taking the time tonight, Professor Brewer, to speak to our attendees. And I look forward to your comments, and I have to say, I love your graphic. It's such a great data wordle. Thank you.
All right, welcome everyone, and thanks for tuning in. So under business analytics and managerial economics, our goal here is twofold. First, we want our graduates to be able to transform, visualize, analyze data using the most cutting edge methods and software that's out there. So to do that, here we'll have you take classes that'll teach you the theoretical underpinnings behind topics like machine learning, data and text mining, forecasting, regression analysis, and even some causal inference. But further, you're going to learn how to implement those procedures and gain other programming skills using industry standard software like R and Python as well. The work doesn't just stop there though, because it's just as important that you can appropriately interpret and communicate those findings using your micro and macroeconomic skills to best guide optimal decision making throughout the business world and government policy sphere, wherever you want to go. As you've probably seen, analytics is an exploding field. But as you look across the range of universities and business schools out there, you often don't see economics and analytics married together so explicitly. And we're quite proud of how we've connected the two, because you really need both sides of that coin to be able to not only analyze the data, but be able to make sound and reasonable recommendations with this. And so, as I said, as Jim talked about, it's important to think about the career trajectory that's going on now. Based on a University of Kansas study, there is a currently predicted 50 to 60% gap in the supply of graduates capable of performing analytics in solving business problems and providing data-driven insights, which means coming out with this degree, you will be highly sought after by a number of employers, not only nationwide, but here in Connecticut, if this is where you want to be. We're a new major. We're going in, we've had economics for a long time, but we've really worked hard to build in the analytics and make that a key part of it. And so we've just started our internships, and students have been successful getting internships with think tanks like the MCRA, YS Growth Strategies and Economic Consultants, the Hartford Steam Boiler, and the Construction Institute. So not only will you be in demand, but you have a vast amount of career opportunities. Analytics and economics is very broad, as you can see from those internships. You can go into finance and banking, marketing and advertising, healthcare, health insurance. Obviously here in Hartford would be the way to do that. Entertainment industry, and also government and other policy think tanks. And then finally, we're all biased because we've gone on to graduate school, but if you are thinking about going on to graduate school or some sort of advanced training after your undergraduate degree, economics majors do score the highest on graduate education standardized tests, like the GRE, the LSATs, et cetera. So this sets you up perfectly to do well in those and continue forth into graduate school. So that's our major. We're very excited about it, and we look forward to any questions that you might have about it.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Brewer. I have to say that we have a few more faculty to hear from, but it should be obvious to our audience how proud we are of our majors. And I can hear that in your voice and in your sentiments about the business analytics and managerial economics major. I think you are correct. Data is king, right? We have known this for a while and we've responded with a major. And I think that to your point, I've even suggested to students that they consider a minor in data analytics because let's say students, you're a marketing major, right? You've decided that's your interest. Guess what? Data is such an important piece potentially of a marketing career. All of a sudden, your boss might say to you, could we study the reason that kids like, Fruit Loops so much? And I imagine, Dr. Brewer, that having a minor in data analytics is going to help really look at that question and come up with good answers for their boss. Data is hot. Thank you. Our next professor that we're going to hear from now, speaking of hot topics, is our risk management and insurance major. And we have Professor Goldstein with us. And Professor Goldstein's been on our faculty for a number of years now. He comes from the business as well and has been a clinical, what we call clinical, or an experienced practitioner in risk management and insurance, and now has stepped into the role of teaching our students about this career and the important courses within it. So I thank you, Professor Goldstein, for being here. Tell us about your major.
Thanks, Dr. Lofink. Good evening, everyone. Appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today. I'm actually a couple floors up from where the Dean and Dr. Lofink are in the training lab. I want to start out with a couple of different scenarios to get you thinking, and then we'll tie it back into the major. What if you had a hospital that suffered a data breach in connection with patient information? Or perhaps maybe you're set up as a digital newspaper company and you're sued for defamation in connection with an article that ties into the upcoming election. Or maybe you were a business that's been shut down for months as a result of COVID-19. What do these scenarios have in common? Short answer, risk and insurance. Risk and insurance from a high level perspective deals with identifying, prioritizing, controlling, and paying for loss. And if you're looking into this from a career perspective, it's a great time, a wave of retirements that are going on, growth anticipated for decades. And the unique aspect about Connecticut is with regard to jobs, there's the #1 job producer across the country, the insurance capital of the world located in Connecticut. What type of jobs might you be thinking about? Managing loss for companies or individuals to help get them back on their feet. Perhaps selling and marketing in connection with the business, similar to what Dr. Brewer was talking about, using data analytics in connection with product launches and much more. So why would you choose our specific program in connection with Barney? It goes back to what the Dean was referring to before about competent, confident, and connected. On the competent side, we have a prerequisite course. It's a door opener, broad brush into areas around property casualty, life, health, and more. We then navigate into upper level courses, including nationwide leading courses around cybersecurity, which is probably the next hot topic beyond pandemic, along with InsurTech, which has to do with how technology is really influencing and changing the insurance industry in real time. In addition to that, from a professional perspective, we engage regularly with business partners coming off several semesters of data analytics projects with a local Fortune 200 company, really reinforces confidence. One of the students that's on the line tonight is going to be a participant in an international risk management and insurance competition with 3 other members later in the year. And then with regard to being connected, we have a pipeline of individuals, whether it's entry level all the way through senior positions that range from Travelers and Cigna, Aetna and the Hartford Steam Boiler, and more. Last piece, I want to give a shout out to our faculty in the risk management and insurance side. We bring a dynamic blend of approaches. We balance out traditional academia. One of my colleagues graduated from the #1 program in risk management and insurance, and the balance of us collectively bring over 80 years of experience in global roles, product, claims, and one of us in the past worked as a deputy regulator in the state of Connecticut as well. So look forward to chatting with you at the end of the session if you have any questions. And Dr. Lofink, back to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Professor Goldstein. I know you've I believe that this is a really exciting space for students to consider. And one of the things that comes to mind that you and I shared a great day here on campus where we hosted high school students who came for a risk symposium. And we spent the day going through some of the scenarios you described right at the beginning of your discussion with our students tonight. And I just never realized until then how exciting risk can be to look at as a career. And I even found out that day that there was a soccer player, Beckham, that had his own risk manager and assessing the risk of his injury. So again, students, it can be a very exciting field, from all the different things happening with technology through the various spaces that you would apply a career in risk management and insurance. So thank you so much, Professor Goldstein. I'm turning now to our next major, which is finance. And Carmen Cote is with us tonight. She is a professor of finance, and she is also our department head. For you students and parents on the call, I just wanted to be sure you understood that we have 3 departments in the Barney School of Business. You met Dr. Bannister, who's our head of our accounting department. Professor Cote, not only all of her faculty responsibilities and all of the other activities that keep her busy, had agreed to head up our department of finance, business analytics and managerial economics, and risk management and insurance, and the actuarial minor. So Professor Cote, I am so glad you even found the time to come visit with us tonight. You're the best at what you do, and I thank you for sharing with our students and their parents the major in finance.
Hi, everybody. This is Carmen Cote. Sorry, I just joined back because I lost the connection. I hope you can hear me. Thank you again for joining our session. It is my pleasure to introduce you to the finance major. You may ask yourself, where can you focus in finance? There are 3 main areas in finance you can choose from: banking, corporate finance, and investment management. In banking, for example, you can work for a company such as Goldman Sachs in their mergers and acquisitions, or trading financial security division, or even initial public offerings. In corporate finance, you can run the liquidity management or investment management or the capital structures or various corporations, virtually in any industry. In the investment management area, you can run portfolios for hedge funds, for mutual funds, for the pension funds, or even private equity funds. There is a lot of excitement for this major. I'm a finance person, so I looked at the numbers this morning. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, for example, forecast a 15.5% annual growth for finance professionals during the next decade. Also, the starting salary for finance positions is about $70,000 for entry-level jobs, and about $130,000 for finance managers with 5 years experience. So definitely a lot of excitement for the major. Our finance program will give you unique opportunities to experience things like run an investment fund. 12 years ago, the university gave us $250,000 to have a class that will manage a student-run fund. And our own dean, Steve Mulready, is teaching that course. Also, we are using the Bloomberg Lab, where students can get Bloomberg Market Concept Certificate, which is very important for any resume when you apply for internships or for jobs. You can participate in the CFA Challenge. You can participate in the Bloomberg Trading Competition. You can present original research at the annual undergraduate research symposium. So these are just some opportunities for our finance majors. Also, the finance curriculum is career ready. We revamped the program 2 years ago to incorporate all the market changes and trends. Students can, for example, join the financial leadership programs offered by regional recruiters, the Hartford, Travelers, Aetna, Pratt & Whitney, Stanley Black & Decker. These are fast career opportunities for our finance major students. We organize corporate visits where students can shadow and network with corporate partners. Myself, when I run the Economics and Finance Club, I took students to major corporations as well as financial organizations such as the Federal Reserve Bank of New York or the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, Cantor Fitzgerald in New York City. So those are just a few opportunities for finance majors that they can take advantage of while they're with us at the Barney School of Business. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to answer any questions you may have at the end of this program.
Thank you again, Professor Cote. What a fine presentation of a fabulous major. And I'm going to share with the students and parents that are attending that the promise is real. Everything that you shared about your major is real in terms of a great story of a student who recently had an internship in a financial leadership program at Travelers. I think I can share that too. And she finished up that internship and was offered and accepted a position in finance. And it is absolutely in line with all the salary data you shared and all the expectations that were met for her studying finance at the Barney School of Business. So I think we have great stories to tell. I know we're going to hear from other students tonight as well with their success stories, but it just came to mind as I listened to you that this is real for all of you students and parents considering a Barney School education, that it does end in a very good place for your launch to career success. So thank you so much, Professor Cote. All right, we're moving on. And actually, as we move on, we're changing departments. We're going into our third department. So you met accounting with Professor Bannister, and you met economics, finance, insurance, data analytics, actuarial science under the leadership of Professor Cote. And now we're going to move into the management, marketing, and entrepreneurship department. I stated it, it's 3 majors. And it's my pleasure to introduce Shirley Wang to you, Professor Wang, who is an assistant professor of management in our faculty. And it's her turn to get you all excited about the potential of a major in management, business management. Thank you, Professor Wang.
Hi, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here. So I'm Professor Wang, and I'm an assistant professor in the management department. And I like to think about management or the management major in the context of how it fits into sort of the broader business education at Barney. So part of a business school education is that you learn, a lot about how organizations create strategies. So as you've heard from our, wonderful slate of professors, economics might be about how to price a product. Marketing might be thinking about how to market that product externally. Finance and accounting might be about understanding how to balance the books and sort of the behind the scenes of an organization. And so all of this essentially points to the need to have a good strategy, right? An externally consistent strategy, one that's essentially competitive for the environment that one is in. And that's all, very crucial. But this is where I want to offer a complementary point of view, which is that you can have the best strategy in the world, but at the end of the day, you really need the people to execute that strategy. So we think of people essentially as a form of competitive advantage, right? And this is sort of what the management major is all about, understanding the people in the organizations. And so with the management major at UHERT, you'll get an understanding of this component of running an organization, right? With classes such as leadership that will teach you about leading and following and how to be an effective team member. You'll also learn to do this in a modern way, how to do this across cultures and borders, and the role that ethics plays in management. You'll also learn how people management essentially has to be done in conjunction with other business functions, right? So it's sort of one piece of the puzzle. So you'll get sort of a more macro look at this component through courses like project management and operation, as well as a capstone class that combines all of these different components. So I'm sure, as you can imagine, with a major like that, right, it's going to be marketable across a variety of jobs. So we can think about sort of working in a management consulting firm that looks at HR issues, how to keep people happy and motivated, as well as sort of dealing with the legal side of things. Or more practically speaking, right, how to run the floor and being an effective manager in all sorts of businesses, such as retail organizations like Target or Amazon. So that's my little spiel about the management major. I'm really excited to be here, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Wow, what a great reflection on our management major. And everything you say comes to mind a couple of students that I'm aware of. That one in particular, Professor Wang, I don't know if you know, you may know the student did an internship this summer in China, which I highly encourage. I think we all as faculty encourage our students to study abroad and work abroad. And his internship, Professor Wang, was in human resource management. And when you said global, that's what made me think of the experience that student had, really working in a global company, situating himself in China and getting such a perspective on how to lead and encourage and follow within a team environment of a global company. So it's just fabulous opportunities that I think your major brings. And one other thing I did want to mention that I know you're firsthand involved in is many of our courses in management work on simulations and simulated businesses and simulated case studies. And so again, just such an opportunity to get a real hands-on view of the world. So as you talk about innovative curriculum, I really believe that we have truly a stellar approach to learning and growing within that major. Thank you so much. Our next faculty member is going to speak to us about marketing. And Professor Catricius, I have always enjoyed being in the halls with you and sharing some of our office co-locating and many a chat about the marketing profession. And I can't wait to hear what you have to share with our students and parents on the call about marketing. As I even look at the first bullet, tell us why marketing is cool, if you would.
Well, marketing's cool because it deals with people. The management deals with people inside the organization. Marketing deals with people outside the organization. Marketing is really about finding and communicating with markets made up of people and creating products and services that are going to best satisfy those people. So because of that, marketing is easily the most social of all the business disciplines. It's really how the organization interacts with its markets and marketplaces. Our students, actually, marketing is also the most disrupted digitally of all the disciplines. So we're busy keeping up with how things are being disrupted and being very dynamic about our offerings. You take all the core business classes like any major, but and then you take consumer behavior and market research, and a lot of digital marketing gets infused in all of our classes, and we have separate classes in digital marketing as well. Actually, that's where most of our students are winding up in their entry-level jobs, is in digital marketing oriented positions. And it's amazing how many of those positions there are. GMC used to hire about 2 brand assistants every year to grow their marketing operations. Last year, they hired 16 digital marketing people. So they're at the entry level. So our students end up working usually in the area, although they are nationwide. But we've placed students at Cigna and Pratt and Whitney and the Hartford and Travelers and Aetna and a lot of the industry around here really wants our students. And then how are we different? We're really different because, if you want to go to a school and blend in with the woodwork and not get noticed, don't come here. We know our students very well. It's a very small atmosphere. Right now, I have 24 students in my marketing strategy class, and they're I know all of them pretty well. That's what marketing's about, and by the way, welcome, and can't wait to see you in fall.
What a nice story you tell, a powerful one, Professor Katricius. And I would tell you firsthand, students and parents, I've seen some of our students in Dr. Katricius's class in his lobby, waiting to meet with him as a customer and pitch their marketing strategy. They're sweating a little bit, they're professionally dressed, they're nervous, and then they come out smiling every time, Dr. Katricius. So talk about knowing your students and putting your hand on their shoulder to guide their learning. I see it every day in everything you do, as well as the other faculty in the marketing department. So I thank you for that. I have a student in a marketing internship that reflected in her journal last week that she's so excited about her marketing internship because she realized that all of her courses have driven her to prepare for this. And on top of all of that, she feels like her role as a marketing person is to be the voice of the company. I thought, what a great way to say it. And what a powerful feeling for that young student. So I commend all of you for guiding her learning to that point of just feeling so powerful and so excited about her career. We have one more major to share with you, and I'm excited to hear from our Professor Oxoy about the Entrepreneurship Studies major. And Professor Oxoy has joined us just recently. He's a new professor in our faculty family, and he is a professor of management and entrepreneurial studies. I'm so looking forward to hearing your perspectives, Professor Oxoy, as well as our attendees tonight, about the Entrepreneurship Studies major. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for that introduction, and welcome to all the students and families. So in terms of career ready, the question is, how do today's young professionals make an impact? And perhaps more importantly, how can one build a career while also staying independent? The unknowns of tomorrow do not change the need for today's young professionals to chart a path into that unknown. This is quite a challenge in today's high pressure, high uncertainty environment. While recessions and downturns are nothing new, the degree to which everything is so interconnected has really changed the nature of the game. Crises are becoming more severe and solutions are becoming more challenging and more expensive, as we can tell. There's a $3 trillion price tag on the most recent one. And if anything is for certain, it's that uncertainty is here to stay. And yet, such conditions present boundless opportunities for those who are properly trained. This is what we in the entrepreneurship curriculum teach. It teaches not only to develop a plan, but also how to implement that plan. Entrepreneurship provides you with a unique set of tools that you can apply to a variety of interests. It doesn't have to be just business. It could be music, art, architecture, engineering, economic ventures, of course. Entrepreneurship, so in general, is equally applicable to both small businesses and large companies who, by the way, are currently looking for intrapreneurs to run their internal innovative projects. So really, entrepreneurship is an interdisciplinary education that you'd receive at UHeart. So at UHeart, all entrepreneurial courses, the way they're taught, are practice-based, providing a hands-on education. Think of it really as a workshop where you're exposed to real businesses and real problems, and you'll learn to communicate with clients and meet their deliverables. We introduce students to unique and creative problem-solving techniques that will guide in the implementation of those novel business solutions for your clients. And ultimately, what you're doing is you build your resume alongside completing your college credits in a true workshop. Our professors are not only prominent researchers who will teach you the theoretical foundations of the curriculum, but they also have practical experience from running their own businesses and companies as either their own companies or consultants. So overall, when you leave the program, you'll understand how a system is constructed. That means any system. You'll understand how to develop a sustainable business, which is vital, of course, for competitive advantage, as Professor Wang mentioned, and you'll naturally be in a better position to construct your own utopia. So thank you very much. I hope your decision is UHeart and the entrepreneurship program in particular.
Go Hawks, right? Are you
That's
learning
right.
that yet, Professor Oxley?
Not yet. Soon.
Go Hawks. All right, thank you so much. You're a portrait of what you described. You're a researcher, very credibly known in your field, and you have experience running your own business. So I think that our students get the benefit of a truly exciting opportunity to grow their skills and learning about either their own business or acting entrepreneurial within a business, right? So good for you. Thank you so much. I did want to mention that Dr. Nemova is on the call. She's listening in and providing support to our faculty. She is the department head for the management, marketing, and entrepreneurship department of those three majors. So we thank you for being here as well, Dr. Nemova. Again, we know it's a busy life being a faculty member in Barney, and so thank you again for sitting in with us tonight. We are at the point in this session, we have heard from all the majors, all 7 faculty members representing those majors. And Liz, I thought we would maybe open up for some questions. If I could say to all of you parents and students while we're waiting for Liz to check our chat, it's like we've set up a train for you, right? And there's 7 cars in the train and we're driving you down the track. But if you are from the Northeast, could I just describe us as the Acela of Barney, of business schools? We are fast, we act with urgency. You're in the train with us. Please join us, get on board, because we head you to your destination of choice, success in business. So again, I thank you all, faculty. And now, Liz, if we could open up for questions.
Yes, so we've had many questions come through the question and answer feature, and some faculty have answered those, but we haven't gotten to 2 questions, so I'll ask them now. One of the questions is, can I double major as a business student?
Oh, what a good question. Yes, Dean Mulready would like to respond, Liz, so we'll let him, and let's find out about a double major.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and our students can double major in here, and it depends on which major they do take in terms of what additional courses they would have to take to exceed beyond the 120 credits. Perhaps some of our professors may want to add specifically if we were combining marketing and economics, for example, what that would add. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's going to matter depending upon which 2 you choose.
Right. Any other faculty, would you like to make a further comment on that?
Jump in. Actually, there's a couple of issues there that I think are interesting. I had a student a number of years ago that triple majored, took 2 majors within the business school and 1 outside the business school, and actually did that. He had to get 6 extra credits above the 123 required for graduation. But he ended up with 3 degrees, which he's actually now a CEO of his own firm. The other issue I wanted to bring up was, if you don't know what you want to major in, but you know you want to be in business, all of our majors have to take a very similar set of core courses. And so you can wait up to 2 years before you decide what major you really want to major in. It's and that's without really getting into going down any lanes that you don't need to use. It's wide open and for at least a couple of years.
Right. I agree with you. Thank you, Professor Catricius, for that answer, and Dean Mulready, because it is very doable to do a double major. And I know that student as well, that triple major. Wow. And we would absolutely talk to you specifically, any students or parents, about your interests, your program, and get out our whiteboard even and show you how that does work out to get those accomplished goals you have in mind. Liz, any other questions in the chat box for us?
Yes, one more. How can I look for internships as a business student?
Oh, well, I know we're going to hear from our students in a little bit, and I bet we'll ask them that same question so you can hear from them as well. Anybody, faculty, would you, Dr. Bannister, I know that your accounting students pursue internships, and would you like to speak to that question?
Sure. There are a lot of different ways you can find an internship. One is simply to meet up with companies who come to campus. Most years they're coming in person. This year there are a lot of virtual meetings, but it all works the same way because they're here to meet students who want to get internships or full-time jobs. And then we have software through the Career Center called Handshake, where many jobs are posted. And in fact, students get some training on how to use that fairly early on so that they can use it for an internship, or as I said in the chat, any of these internships, really, they're just jobs. I encourage my students to think of them as summer jobs. One of them you're going to take for class credit, but you can take as many as you can do as many as you want.
Highly encouraged, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah,
yes.
I'd like for students to do 2 or 3 if they can.
Yeah. The other thing I'd like to add, thank you, Dr. Bannister, ties back to something Professor Catricius said, in that we have a base set of courses we call the Barney Core. And part of within that core, another added answer to that question, Liz, is we prepare you, students, to pursue your internships. We want you to find them yourselves. Again, I've had a couple students say to me, so are you going to get an internship for me? And I smile and go, you're going to get that internship for yourself. It's like what the skills you need a couple years down the road when it's time to find your first career job. But we're going to help you. We're going to support you. As Dr. Bannister said, we're going to get you to career fairs, virtual this year, but we're going to get you there. But we're going to get you there practiced and ready to show up well. We give you mock interview practice. We give you resume practice. We give you networking skill practice so that you're really ready to, when it's time to do that internship for credit, to pursue with our help. So that is, I think, an important piece of how you're going to feel when you get that internship. You land it and you know you did it yourself. So thank you for that question too, Liz. Liz, we're at the top of the hour. I'm thinking we might need to close off this portion for now and get to our students, but we can certainly revisit. We'll have another opportunity for Q&A at the end of the session. So please, again, students and parents, put your questions in the chat box and we'll revisit with more answers for you before we wrap up this evening. So in closing the session off though, I do want to say that if it's not obvious to you, I want it to be obvious. I'm proud to be a member of this faculty. What an amazing faculty we have, right?
It was just a great explanation of all the majors that
It
we have.
was.
So I want to thank the professors as well.
Yeah, some of them have to get to class after this, and so yeah,
We may have to leave this room.
right, very dedicated to their major, to their field of expertise. So I want to leave you with this thought before we move on to I'll tell you 3 reasons why I'm proud to be a member of this faculty. No other business school will ever attract me away from here. They are smart. You can see that by listening to every one of them. They're smart academically in their research expertises. They are experienced. So they bring also the experience of the world, like Dean Mulready, into the classroom and share that with students and talk about it in ways that make the learning practical. And they're fun. They're really fun. You can see that, right? It's fun to be a student here. It's fun as a parent, to watch your student be part of this experience. So again, I thank you, faculty, for taking the time tonight. It means a lot to the folks that joined us, I know, to hear directly from you. And now it's time to hear directly from our students. We have 2 students that have agreed to join us tonight. And we call this portion of our program A Day in the Life of a Barney Student. And Dean Mulready is going to ask Evan and Aaliyah to turn on their videos and mics, and we'll have a nice, he's going to lead us through a little chat with them about some of the journey that they call their own through the Barney School, and highlights for all of you on the call. So thank you, Dean Mulready.
Okay, let's see if they're.
Are you
Joining in,
ready?
yeah.
Would you like Evan to join first?
Yeah, we'll start with Evan. Sure.
Okay, Evan, if you wouldn't mind turning on your video and audio.
Hello.
Hi, there you are.
There he is.
All right.
Hey, Evan, how are you?
Not too bad. Ready to
Good.
go.
Good. I'm hoping you had an opportunity to hear the presentations that were done by the professors, and some of the questions as well. One of the questions was on internships. So I thought I might ask you your experience with the internships before we talk about some of the other subjects.
Sure. So I'm an accounting major with the business analytics minor. And so far in my career at Barney, I've done 2 internships, and I'm going to graduate and do 1 more internship. So just a little background, I've done an internal audit internship with the insurance group my sophomore year over the summer. And then this past spring/winter, I did a tax/audit internship with Cohn Resnick. They're one of the school's partners, so we have a really good relationship with them. And then after graduation, I'm pursuing, or will be having an internship with EY. They're one of the big 4, and I'll be doing an audit internship there after I really enjoyed doing audit at Cohn Resnick.
So why don't you explain why you're doing an internship after that, rather than getting into a permanent job?
Sure. So for the accounting field, you're going to hear the term 150 credits pretty often. And by the time of graduation, I'll have somewhere between 120 and 125 credits. So I have to pursue a graduate degree. So during that time, that's where I have to go back to school, and they cannot extend a full-time offer until after I get my 150 credits.
And that's typical in the field that you're entering.
Yeah, unless you do the 3+1 where you do that very advanced field, it usually takes about 4 to 5 years to get it.
Very good. Great. So you're pretty busy with the internships and your classwork. What are some of the activities you've participated in here at the school?
Sure. So as of right now, I'm a member of Beta Alpha Psi, the Accounting Honor Society. I'm also the president of the Barney Leadership Council, and I've been involved with them since my sophomore year. Outside of the business school, I'm a resident assistant. Also within the school, I'm also involved with just a lot of day-to-day functions within the Barney Leadership Club and being a student worker in the Barney School as well.
That's great. I just want you to focus a little bit on the Barney Leadership Council and what type of members are in there, and what do you do?
Sure. So unfortunately this year I had not heard anything about the Ellsworth Dinner. That's something we do, but it's a great experience where all the members of the Barney Leadership Council get to go on this all expense paid for dinner after you pay your dues for the club. And it's just an awesome professional and like networking setting where we have a keynote speaker that goes over their career and how their relationship with the Barney School and University of Hartford has helped help their career, and how we just learning from them in terms of that.
Yeah, this year is a little tough to have a dinner with the number of people we'd like to invite, but certainly plan to have it back in session next year. So let me ask you one final question, and we have some sense of what your immediate goal is for a career. What are your plans, say, 5 years out?
5 years out, by 5 years from now, I really hope that I have my professional certificate, my CPA. I hope that I'm at least in a managerial role at the company I want to work for. I really hope it's EY, because I did really enjoy everything I learned so far. But from a business aspect, I really hope I have my CPA underneath my belt. I have more professional certificates underneath my belt, and just a very high position with a good amount of responsibility within them.
Great. Thanks very much, Evan.
Wow.
Good story. I'm going to switch over to Aaliyah now.
Hi.
There she is.
Hi, Aaliyah. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. How are you?
Very good, thanks. I'm going to start with the same question about internship, because there was an interest on that. Can you explain your experience with the internship program?
Well, one thing that I love about Barney is that they give us different events, opportunities to get in contact with companies. So with the connection of my professor, one of the professors here actually, Kenneth Goldstein, I was able to get a connection with Aetna and Travelers. So those are insurance companies here based off in Connecticut. And I was able to get a one-on-one with one of the people head of the product management program for Travelers. So I was able to get a one-on-one with him, and I was able to be directed to an internship opportunity. So I think the best way of going about finding internships while attending the Barney School is just being productive and being a participant of events and opportunities that they provide us.
It's very good. And those, well, two insurance company, they're quite different in what they do. The Aetna being one of the largest healthcare companies in the world, and Travelers being one of the most significant property and casualty companies in the United States. So terrific exposure to those two companies.
Thank you.
Great. So you've been busy as well. Tell us about your activities on campus.
Yeah, I've actually had a number of opportunities on campus between work study, clubs and programs. So I've been able to work at the Morrison Library for work study. I've also been able to be a part of the Economics and Finance Club in Barney. And then I've also had the opportunity to become a freshman mentor for the Barney School, and as well as be a part of the Preceptor program, which is overall part of the 7 schools Preceptor program. And a little bit about that, I've been able to assist students, sophomores, as I'm a junior, with their classes, and also get a connection with other people and a part of other schools that Hartford provides, and connect with them. So those are a couple programs I've been able to have experience with.
You've been very active, that's for sure. And you got another year and a half to continue being so, which is great.
Yeah.
So how about you? Any plans after graduation?
Yeah, I'm planning on, with my minor in risk management insurance, one thing that I have loved about the Barney School is that, like I said, the opportunity to provide us with resume boot camps and career fairs to connect with different schools. I was given the opportunity to connect with Travelers, and hopefully I can get an internship there and focus on my minor working with them, and then get a little more experience in the Barney world, or I'm sorry, the business world, and maybe further into something that pertains more to my major in economics and finance.
Good. In longer term, do I recall you want to go back to New York?
Yeah.
And so what's your long-term career aspiration?
I'm thinking to go into law, I was actually kind of thinking about maybe being a lawyer for a company, as in like travelers, maybe an insurance lawyer, things like that. So one benefit of having the major and minors, I'm getting different opportunities within those minors and majors, and able to apply that if I decide to go to law school.
That'd be great. And I know, having been in the insurance world for so long, there's an awful lot of lawyers, both in the corporate side of an insurance company as well as in the claim department. And so there's terrific opportunities to get in there and do well. So I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for joining us, as well as Evan. And that'll conclude our student spotlights, I believe, and we'll see if there's any questions. In fact, are there any questions specifically of the students? Because they'll stay on and answer those questions for you. So Liz, do we have any?
Yes, we have a couple. I'll start with the first one. How do you multitask classwork along with extracurricular activities?
Well, I think we should let our students answer that one, right?
I could speak about that if you don't mind.
Sure.
So yeah, this past semester, spring, winter of 2020, that's actually when I did my tax/audit internship with Cohn Resnick. So it was a 6-credit internship. So I was doing about like 30, 40 hours a week. And on top of that, taking 2-3 classes just to maintain my coursework so I wouldn't fall behind. So it definitely is possible because there's a lot of flexibility within taking night classes and just how I was able to schedule my schedule. So it definitely is possible to manage being extracurriculars, interning during the semester, and while also getting good grades during the semester.
Very good.
Aaliyah, any thoughts on that? You're a busy woman. How do you juggle everything?
Yeah, I would say that the biggest thing was just, of course, having a good schedule, making sure that you write down everything for sure. Having a little sticky note app on my laptop actually been a great thing for me. And also just taking everything as a priority. Having my preceptor class, I just take it as my own class. So just making sure that you take everything as a priority, you keep it in mind that it's important, and you'll succeed in it.
Yeah. Perfect. That is both of you great answers. And if I could just add, I have to admit, it's a little bit of advice to all of you students, and as your parents are listening, you've got 4 years between now and your career launch. And I would say that our students, Aaliyah, Evan, and all the other 700 or so of them would tell you, make the most of it. Every opportunity that comes up, say yes, or pretty close to a yes, and don't miss out. It does sound like there's a lot of activity, as our students have shared with you, but everything can fit, as Aaliyah said, if it feels like it's all a priority, you'll make it happen, and you'll be glad you did. Alumni sometimes say they wish they had done more while they were here. As you get out in the work world, you get busy in other ways, right? And so we just highly encourage you to be like these students and take advantage of everything that's available to you. Liz, another question?
Yes, the next one is, when should I join clubs within the business school?
Student question?
Student question? When did you folks start getting involved with clubs?
I really started getting involved sophomore year, and I wish I could have gotten involved even freshman year, second semester at the latest.
Yeah. How about you, Aaliyah?
I actually started the same sophomore year, but I definitely would recommend freshman year once they give you other opportunity to learn about the different programs. And even if you don't, go ahead and say if you start with the economics and finance program, even if you decide not to go ahead with that major, just getting that experience in that club to see how they are is important. So I would say freshman year is definitely where you probably should start looking at them, but sophomore year for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think so. And the thing I guess we're not focusing on is there are university clubs as well. So you get to meet a broader group of people with different interests in music and art and engineering and so on. So It's a relatively small campus, so it gives you an opportunity to really make a lot of lifelong friends here.
Right. Yeah, I don't think you can join soon enough, students. I would say, and you heard from our Aaliyah and Evan, as soon as you can, join it outside the Barney School Club.
Yeah.
Meet people, start to create your community. And you'll be glad you did, because we are committed to all of you and your experience well beyond the classroom. And we want you to be committed too. And one of the ways you do that is to join clubs. And as our students said, there's one for every major in the Barney School. And so we highly encourage all of you students to get involved and start to align your identity and start to network and start to just make friends and enjoy yourself as well.
Great. Well, I think we are.
Liz, are we getting close to the end of our session here? If you want to fit one more question in, or we can turn to you for the wrap up.
Yes, we have one more question, which will be the last question for Aaliyah and Evan. What is the best experience thus far at UPart?
Oh, that's a good one. Evan, did you want to think about how you're going to choose? That's my thought. How are you ever going to pick?
For me, it's definitely just the aspect of getting involved with so I have a good group of accounting friends, and those are going to be my lifelong friends too. So just after getting involved in my first year, now that they followed me and I followed them to everything. So that's probably my best experience, just having that good group of friends that followed me into clubs and encouraged me to join different activities and get out there. That's the best thing I could ask for, because these do become your lifelong friends after you get to know them.
Yeah. And Evan, I would say that I often see you in the halls doing that very thing, congregating with your friends, and we have great student space here. And so it's built for that, right? To whether you're going to commute or be on campus, it's really about creating those cohorts of connection that I think Evan is speaking to really well. Aaliyah, what are your thoughts about that? What's a highlight for you?
Honestly, for one, definitely the diversity of the school, but most importantly, I would say it's just the preparation, genuinely the preparation that the Barney School has given me, and the opportunities to connect with different companies, honestly has been the most exciting, because I'm here to prepare for my future, and to be able to talk to different companies and to have different relationships with these great professors that genuinely care about my future, I think has actually been the best part of it, because it excites me to prepare my future and be ready for my future.
Wow. I think we're a little speechless, students here listening to with pride.
To
right?
end on.
Yes. We're going to just end at that point. We have just a smile of pride for both of you. Liz, I'm going to let you go ahead, and I'll bring up the next slide and let you do a wrap for us.
Thank you. So we hope you'll be able to join our next session, which is this Thursday, to learn about our accelerated 3+1 program and being an undecided major within our business school. So that's Thursday at 5 to 6:30. Celia, if you go to the next slide, you'll be able to see my contact information, my email, and phone number. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any additional questions. I am available by Zoom to schedule a meeting as well with families, so feel free to inquire about that. I just want to thank Dean Mulready, Celia, faculty, Evan, and Aaliyah for joining us tonight. This webinar has been recorded and will be available to you all shortly. Thank you again, and have a great night.